Well, good morning, and I'm not sure I said, sure, I'll do it, but I said, I will do it, because God kept us safe, so here I am. I'm sure most of you know I'm Brenda Stauffer, and several weeks ago, my daughter Sheila and daughter-in-law Ginny invited me to go along to Waco, Texas, for what we didn't know it was going to be a life-threatening experience, but a faith-building event. So we were going to go down to Magnolia Farms, and I'm sure most of you women probably know what that is. It's on TV. It's Chip and Joanna Gaines. They're in Waco, and they have a beautiful complex. They redo houses. They transform houses for people, and you can take a tour and see the houses. They also have a complex there that you can see shops, and we had a great time. It was wonderful. Before we left, we knew that the weather's going to be cold. In fact, it's going to be very cold, so we packed our heavy coats and our boots and our hats. And there are two things I thought I knew, preconceived ideas about Texas. Number one, that it's perfectly flat everywhere. And the other one is that it's perfectly warm. Well, I'm wrong on both accounts. So I'll tell you what happened. We went to Waco, and it was beautiful. We had a good time, and it was cold, but it was a good thing because they told us the lines are very short, and we didn't have to wait. We had a good time. From there, we went to San Antonio to do the river walk, and probably some of you have been there. It's beautiful. It's, the river flows right through the center of San Antonio. It's a very old city with a lot of history. The Alamo's there. We got to see that. We were shivering when we saw that. Again, I thought it's going to be hot in Texas, but boy, it was very cold. It was like 1 degree. It was very cold. So we had a good time. We were, in the meantime, hearing... we had flown into Dallas. Our son had taken us down to the airport, and we went by Dallas. But when we were down there, we heard that Dallas is closed. Airports are getting closed due to the ice and the snow, and I'm sure you've seen it in the weather. It was very real. So we made arrangements, and we canceled that flight and redid it and went into Houston because that was going to be warmer, we thought. So now we're going to drive over to Houston, and that was an event going from San Antonio to Houston. The roads were sheer ice. Texans are lovely people, but they don't know how to drive on ice and snow, and rightly so. They don't have the equipment to spread any product that you would bring them, salt or otherwise, or chemicals. So when it snows, it is very icy, and it was just sheer ice. I think I might just read the rest just because I want to get my thoughts together. The roads already were extremely icy. Anytime you drive, it was crawling along 25 miles an hour. The roads were packed ice. There was just a little bit of snow, not much. In fact, we had much more at home, but because they don't remove it, it became ice. My daughter Sheila was a driver at that time just because she was very brave. Ginny and I weren't quite as brave at that point. There wasn't much traffic. Everything was closed, gas station, restaurants. And after 3 hours, we finally got to Houston. It was kind of an oxymoron. We were there, and there were beautiful palm trees just covered in ice. And it was like, and the flowers were gorgeous, but they were just frozen in time. Just like overnight, they just became frozen, but it was very pretty. So we slept overnight in the hotel in Houston, and our flight out of there was going to be leaving that next afternoon on Monday. But we woke at 2, and the vents in the hotel, they were quiet all of a sudden. We realized the electric out, and we thought, oh, no problem. Till morning, it'll be back on. We'll be on our way. Well, we got up, and we realized our room is getting very cold. And again, the temperature outside is 1 degree. And we heard later it was with wind chills of minus 11. So it was very cold. People aren't prepared. Nobody was out. Everything was closed. And so we went down to the hotel lobby, and there's a wonderful lady. She was a Mexican lady, and we were cheerful. We were upbeat. That's one thing about my daughter-in-law and daughter. They're very upbeat. They're Christian women, and if I had to do this trip with anybody, it was them. I felt safe. And so anyway, we went down to the desk. We said, when is electric coming back on? Because we'd like to. You couldn't see in the stairwells. I mean, the elevators weren't working. In the stairwells, it was pitch dark, so we used our flashlights on our phones. Our key pass for the door went open. She said, don't leave your room because you can't get back in because the electric is off and they can't get back in. So she said, well, she doesn't know, but she's very concerned because there's no food coming into the hotel and there's nothing going out. Everything's shut down. The whole of Houston was black. It was incredible. And again, they were predicting storms coming up for the end of the weekend. So we were on the phone to the airport booking a flight, and the earliest we could get out of there was Thursday. Now this is Monday morning. So here we are. What are we going to do? It sounds great. Oh, enjoy the time, but everything's closed, and it's a sheet of ice. Even to go out to the car, our rental car, to the parking lot, you'd slide all over the place. There's just nothing that was safe. It was kind of getting scary now. It's like first, oh, this is an adventure. Yeah, this is fun. But now it's kind of getting scary because we're getting colder. And the lady really enforced that she's not sure what she's going to do for breakfast the next morning because there's just no food coming in. We really tried to stay upbeat, and we were positive. So now the three of us sat on the beds there in the hotel room, and we decided that we have to make a decision. Are we going to wait it out till Thursday with knowing more storms are coming, and they cancel right away? They have no way to de-ice the planes. The airport shut down very quickly. So we sat on the bed, and each of us prayed out loud, and we earnestly seek the Lord's guidance. And we kept, of course, calling home to our husbands, and they were kind of at a loss to tell us what to do as well. And one of the girls prayed specifically that God opens the door and closes it today to make a decision so that we'll know exactly what we're to do. So anyway, we decided that our best bet now, after we prayed, we just felt a peace. And the whole time we really did feel a peace. We were scared, but it was a peaceful scare. That makes sense. So we decided that Sheila and Jenny will go to the car rental, take our car rental back to Houston Airport and just check in and see what our options are. And I'm going to stay in the room because if we don't, we'll get locked out. And so they went, and they were gone a while, and it was kind of sobering to see them go because, again, the roads are slick. I can't even explain it. It's just different than here. We all decided we're going to send flowers and chocolates to the men here that treat our roads because it's wonderful here. So they went to the airport to the car rental, and they all said, oh, no, we can't rent you a car to go back east. If you do, you have to bring it back. We said, well, we are not coming back. If we can get out of here, we're not bringing the car back. So if I can get home, I don't care if I ever see Texas again. So they all said, well, the one man said, well, we'll give you a car for $900. And so they text me. I said, get it, whatever you have to do. We got to get home. They thought, well, let's try something else. But every place said, no, we can't rent you a car one way. You have to bring it back. So they were done and ready to leave. And this is where it really got interesting. And this is the whole point. And I want this to be God's glory, not about me. So they were ready to leave. And there was an Enterprise counter. And there was this young, not that it matters that he was black, but he was a very nice man. And they said to him, do you have any car rentals that we can take to Pennsylvania? He goes, sure, what do you need? We'll just set you up. And, well, how much does it cost? It was $280. And, yeah, we'll get you all hooked up with that. And he filled it out. And in the meantime, he's answering the phone, and he's doing 3 other things. Nobody else was around, and he was running the show. And he gave the card to him, and this is important. He gave this card to them, and this is his, identification and all. So they were tickled, so they called me, Mom, pack the room up, we're coming, and Sheila's returning the other car, and Ginny's getting the new car, picking me up, and by 1:30 Monday afternoon, we were on our way in this little white Ford Titanium. It was brand new, like 200 miles on it, and that car was our lifesaver to get home, so to speak. So we were on our way home, and the next 8 hours, I cannot tell you how treacherous it was. It's so scary. Every mile, we thanked the Lord. Sheila drove the rough roads. Ginny was up front, and I was back praying. Those two were commanding the car, and I was back there praying. And it was so slippery. And as we were going, we were on a 6-lane highway on Route 190, if any of you guys know where that is, in southern Texas. And as we were driving, it was so slick. And we were coming up a hill, and then at the top of the hill, you go down a hill. Again, I thought Texas was flat, but it's not. So we witnessed a tractor trailer coming down the other side, jackknife off the road, and we were terrified because we have to go up that very hill that he just came down, and in the meantime, a pickup in front of us went off the side of the road and couldn't get up, and we thought, how are we going to get up in this it's a little SUV? But we did. We went putt, putt, putt up and putt, putt, putt down, and what's on the other side of the hill, you never knew. And then just then, there's a big old sign that says, do not pick up any hitchhikers because they may be escaped convicts. And we thought, okay, what does that even mean? Well, then there was a prison, so okay, we were imagining we're going to fly off the road and we're going to be there because nobody's around. Oh, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody was around, so if we would have flew off the road, who knows what would have happened. And then there was another sign that said Cemetery Road in that way. It's like, Cemetery Road, okay. It just seemed it was one thing after the other, but we had praise and worship music on our radio, K-Love, the whole way, and we were upbeat. So we decided if we could make it to Interstate 10, that would work quite well. And we did, but not after our husbands and so many people were on the phone with us trying to map out our route. We were trying to stay very south and very east of the storm. Our GPS wanted to take us straight home, north right through the storm, and that was impossible to drive. So my grandson, Dayton's other grandpa, Oliver Nault, is a truck driver, so he helped him map out a route for us. So we were trying to get to Route 10, and that was a really very icy road. The exits were closed. Tractor trailers were lined up on either side of all the exits, not going anywhere. So we didn't have much traffic, just a lot of ice. Every time we go over a bridge, we'd call out bridge because, of course, you don't brake on a bridge, and it was very real that bridges are very icy. Food was hard to find. We'd stop, and whenever we could get gas, the girls would go into the bathroom. I'd gas up, and then we'd switch. I'd run into the bathroom, and we had a good system. It was kind of hard to find food, and one night we ate popsicles for breakfast. So, I mean, popsicles for dinner that night. So we did make it to Louisiana, to Lafayette, and we slept there. We were not sure if we should keep going, but it took us 8 hours to get out of Texas, which should have taken 3 hours. It was a very simple drive, but it took 8 hours because we were going 25 miles an hour. So we traveled, after sleeping then, we got up and we were on 190. We finally got on Route 10. And we traveled through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and it was icy as anything the whole way through up until Alabama. Then finally the roads were like kind of breaking up a little bit. You could actually see the road, and we just praised the Lord every step of the way. So now we still had another, 1,300 mile to drive. So we decided what to do is we'll take turns driving. I'm going to drive 100 mile. And Jenny's going to keep me awake during the night, and Sheila's going to sleep. And then 100 miles, I pull off, and we rotate. Now, Sheila's going to drive, Jenny's going to go back and sleep. And plus, we had our family call us and talk on the phone. We had it on speaker, and it was music to our ears. And our granddaughter just called and chatted her head off for an hour about nothing, but we were hanging on every word she said. It was so scary. And it was just very slippery. So... Now, to finish up this story, the guy in Texas, this Michael, by the way, his name was Michael, it's on the card, he told us, oh, you can return the car anywhere you want. You don't have to bring it back to Texas. You can take it to Enterprise. Oh, you live in, Akron, Pennsylvania, you can take it back to Akron. So, okay, so, yeah, that sounds great. So the next morning, we rolled into Ephrata at 6 a.m. after 31 hours of driving, and half of that was very, very scary. And so we took the car back to Enterprise. We went in, and the man and lady there were very friendly, but they were a little irritated because they said, well, how did you get this car? This isn't even registered right. You didn't have to pay a one-way fee. Something's wrong. So we told them the story and that this Michael gave us this, and they said, well, can I see his card? And we looked, and if you look at this card, there's no number on this card because you see Michael is an angel. So we're convinced that we got the car from Michael, and I have since tried to call him, not call him, but email him, and then also I got a number to call Enterprise. It's a dead end every time. I can't reach him because he's an angel. So